So for the bounds, I could say blue squares frame is 0, 80, 160, 160. But let's say I wanted to set that up just using information I found out about the superview. I could say its frame is, I don't know, 0 sounds absolute, that's fine. I could say self.view.bounds.y_value plus 80 here. And that's helpful because we can make it dynamic for the width and the size. Let's say I want it to be half the size. I want it to be a quarter of the screen. So half the width and half the length. I would say self.view.bounds.width divided by 2 for the width. And I could say self.view.bounds.height divided by 2 for half the height.
But that's still setting the frame.
We're setting the frame for the subview based on the information we find out about the bounds of its superview that we're going to add it to.
My question is, can anything's bounds ever be x? Anything besides x equals 0, y equals 0? It always has to be 0, 0 on bounds.
Yes. I would say we're just referencing it so that we can adjust based on its position and its size. So bounds, yeah. Like when you talk about bounds.
Any superview's bounds is always going to be 0, 0.
Yes.
The frame that you set relative to those bounds, I understand what you're talking about.
Yeah. For our purposes, yes. So that is an interview question that you will see a lot. Both of these are, as Allison said, CG rect. And the difference between them is their relationship.
What is the question that you're saying?
They will literally say, what is the difference between frame and bounds? As like an indication of your basic knowledge of iOS development. So if you got an interview question bank, what is the diff? Between frame and bound. Know it, remember it, worship it. Honestly, if we're using a constraints-based system, like we're going to use these things only so much, but you're definitely going to get asked about it. Where's some more questions? It's not a relationship. It's more of a CG rect that's describing the space that that guy takes up relative to itself. So the view is an object, and the view has a measurement of its size, that's the bound. That is a CG rect. So like Ian was saying, well, by default, if I'm measuring myself, my origin is at 0, 0. So 0, 0. And then what we might get from there is the width and the height. And we might do stuff like setting the frame of subview or something. Like it, hate it? Cool. And again, these are descriptive and they're important because Swift isn't a whiteboard, right? What we're creating in our UI is not just something that we're writing down. We're creating something of type UI view, and then we are explicitly telling the program this is how much room it's going to take up. Sunny.
that view, you wouldn't necessarily use it to change anything for that particular view for itself. You'd be using its bounds to say something about, say, a label within that view, right?
You could, but let's say you're also like based on some thing, like kind of like how we did with collection views. We might have wanted 2 columns versus 3 columns. We might want to resize that view itself and say like, hey, if Sunny presses the like, make this half the size button, I can find the bounds and then just say, this view is equal to this view with a new CG rect. Like you could change that view itself. So whatever you want to do, like spatially or visually, you could find out the information about how big that specific thing is and make adjustments based on that. To answer your question, like generally we use it as a way of finding relationships, of defining the relationship between, for like size, between a super view and a new subview that we're going to create. But we could also use it for like a ton of different things.
So then is it placing a definite width and height in the frame more of like a placeholder then? As like when we do AR mod constraints, it would be straight away from adding actual numbers for width and height.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. Say it again.
We want to typically stay away from using an exact number for width and height. We want to use relationships between other objects.
Yeah. So here's the example I was talking about with the 2 squares. Here is the default view. Here is red view, which I want to create. And to get the CG rect, that will be the frame for red view, we're going to say x and y are 0, 0. Its width is self dot view dot, we could say bounds dot, let's just say there's something called width divided by 2, and then its height, same thing. Height divided by 2. We want to get the size. So now we're setting up the size of this inner view relative to the size of its super view.
If you didn't put bounds there, what would happen? Raw bounds.
Like self.view.width.
Yeah.
Could we find that out? Let's have a look. Self view.width. I've always just done it with bounds to be explicit about what the bounds is. There's also frame.size. Let's look at it when we are making our custom cells today. I don't have anything open right now. Let me open something up. So we're just measuring stuff. That's basically what I would say here. What else? Okay. Let's take a 6-minute break, come back, do some buy storyboard, but not quite buy forever interface builder, and then kill our storyboard. Boom, boom. Thank you, B, for catching my lack of making the thing. Bye. Bye. Oh, wait. Yeah. Buddha box. All right. So, I've posted in our Slack the URL, the GitHub URL for the repository. I killed our storyboard, and I'm so sorry. Are y'all okay with that? Okay. So here's my app. Are you ready? It's gonna launch. We lost Alex. Oh well. Go, 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 go. Do you guys like it? Yeah, it kind of stinks right now. Yours is black? Why? Oh, mine too. Why is that? I definitely did. Just by default, your new controllers are transparent. And the background is black. Let's add some stuff to it. Say self.view.background color. What color do you like, Jack? You like blue? That's great. I also like blue. Got blue. Come on, buddy. Cool. Let's add a label to it. Anyone remember how to add a label? Let's make a bar called label, which is of type UI label. And we can make a closure here that we call immediately. Yes. So we'll say let my label equal a UI label. And then we'll say my label dot text color. It's going to be, is there a dot pink? Yeah. System pink. I hope that's the one I'm thinking of. My label dot text. What do you want our label to say? Crystal, what do you want our label to say? Could be anything. Just say what you're thinking. I don't know. Let's make it, I don't know. Great. And then what do we have to make sure to do in this closure in order to create a new instance of UI label? Return it. I'm going to make it lazy. Why would you make it lazy? It does the thing once it's being used. Yeah, well, let's say I want to make this label, now that we know about frame, I want to make this label relative to its super view, which I'm going to add it to in just a sec. So let's say it's going to be self.view.bounds.x. Mid x, max x. No, I don't like any of that. Let's see what we have on bounds. Something called size, which is a CG size. Oh man. Oh my god. There's a height. X is the this way, the cross one. So maybe we want something called width. I'm going to say for the width should be that divided by 3. Let's say for the height, it's going to be dot height divided by, I don't know, 10. Labels aren't really big. For x and y, yeah, maybe let's just make it some absolute position. X is going to be, I don't know, 80? How do y'all feel about 80? So y, how far down on the screen do you want its origin to be? 200, I love it. Great. So now we can look at its super view size by making it lazy. Now all I got to do here, say self.view.add subview. Come on. Label. Agreed. Now let's run it. Nice. I don't know. It's a garish combination. That is true. Probably find better colors. You know I'm no good with that. The pink is nice? Okay. All right. So beauty seems to be in the eye of the beholder right now. Yeah. Cool. So that's my label. We just added a label programmatically. Pretty cool. Here's what I want to do. First of all, that was fun, but whatever. Sorry. Sorry. I'm going to create a model in the view controller because this is purely for demonstration purposes. If you ever do this, I will be very angry. I'm going to create a model which is a dictionary of string to UI color. And it's going to be a dictionary. What are some dogs? Sorry, let me ask for one suggestion and then get another one. My bad. That was on me. Carrie, what's a good dog? Sorry? A Yorkie. And what color is Yorkie? Green? Gray? Oh, American spelling. Okay. What's another good dog? Eric. Either, both. Maybe come to a consensus. I'm sorry? Okay. I don't know if that's a breed, but it's helpful because he's red. Thank you. Olympia, what kind of dog do you have? Pug mix? No, I want breeds. We already missed out on Clifford. What color is your pug mix? Brown. All right, one more dog. Anyone, just shout it out.
Corgi.
All right, I did the thing again where I can't hear anyone. What color is a corgi? Blue, obviously. Cool. All right, so here are our dogs. I want to put these into a table view. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a table view. How can I create a table view? Rod? I'm going to leave out the thing. Okay. Now, let's make something that returns a thing. Could be anything. Like that. Do you want to do stuff to your table view? Okay. So eventually we're going to return something. I don't know. Let's say let in here the table view equal to a new instance of table view. Blah. Then we can do some stuff to it. What do you want to do to it? What's super important for table views? Cells. Cool. How do we get those cells in there? How have you done it in the past? We've created a cell variable. And how do we get that like UI to show up? Like, where did you create what it'll look like? Yeah. Created a cell variable that dequeues a cell ID item that we created in storyboard. Here's what we're going to do today. We're going to create a new Cocoa Touch class, a subclass of UI table view cell called dog table view cell. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So pretty much every time you had an outlet, like you would see something like IB outlet weak var table view, like that. And all we're doing is, instead of defining this stuff in our interface builder file, we are defining all this stuff just programmatically. So before we did that and we had like this reference to a specific table view and that was great, we'll still have a variable called table view to do stuff with, which is still great. I think so. So the first approach I want to take to making these cells is to still make them using interface builder. The way we'll do that is not by creating a new project, but by creating a new Cocoa Touch class, like we've done in the past. We've said, I want to make a subclass of UI table view cell. Now I've got something that is a subclass of UI table view cell. I wish I could zoom in. I like zoom. All right, another time. I'm calling this subclass of UI table view cell dog table view cell. Very important thing I'm also doing is I'm clicking this create XIB file. Because XIB, I think, stands for Extreme Interface Builder, but you could probably find what that X actually means. It's going to create for us a separate interface builder file for that specific subclass of UI table view cell. So here's the UI table view cell. We've seen all this kind of stuff before. I've also got this separate interface builder file with just what we might have created in Storyboard as our prototype cell. It's really cute, right? Sorry? Look at those pudgy little borders. Okay, great. So this dog table view cell, its job is going to be, now if I open the assistant, just like we had in Storyboard, it knows what class it is because it automatically created that class here in the custom class area, just like we saw with view controllers, just like we saw with table view cells, just like we saw with, I don't know, anything else we subclassed. This is this custom class of UI table view cell. So what I can do is anything else that I might have done to relate a file between interface builder and some kind of Swift file. So I can draw outlets and I can draw actions. Eric.
This zip file cause
Here's the really, really fun thing, is if you are creating separate UIs, let's say you're creating a table view with different sections, and they use different table view cells, you could create a table view cell for section 1, while I create the table view cell for section 2. Because they're in separate files, we don't have that storyboard issue. Now, if you're trying to work on the same file at the same time, yeah, you might have that issue. But generally, like, I don't think two people should be working on the same, like, single view at the same time. So, I said this is going to be important for your group projects. This is going to be important for your group projects. I'll just say it one more time. If you are going to create views in Interface Builder, maybe plan to use these XIB files. And right now, we're just creating table view cells, but I could create any subclass using Cocoa Touch file. I could create, just like we've seen, any subclass out of the UI kit stuff that I'm used to seeing. UI table view cell, UI table view controller, UI view, UI collection view cell. I can create any of those things I'm used to putting in my storyboard in their own separate XIB file. So even for navigation, I can create the view controllers here. B.
So when you have the Swift file and the XIB file, you would have put like you were to put the XID file in like another folder, would it still work? Like if you were trying to like organize them, like just ID files, like just SWIFT files, stuff like that.
Like put these in like a views folder.
Not even the SWIFT file, just the XID file by itself. Would it still work that way?
Yes, and we're going to see how you can access these things because now that we don't have a reference to the storyboard, we're going to need to tell the program how it's going to go and find these things. So that's a great question. How are we going to find these things? We'll go over it in just a little bit. In our view controller, which I'm going to rename dogs table view controller, dogs table view controller. Great. We're going to want to use some of these, and we're going to want to use it for both the label, some label that'll tell us the breed, and then just set the background color of the cell based on the color of that dog.
Why did we use the XID files for the last one?
Why did we not?
Yeah.
Because you learned about how storyboard's terrible for that, right? Learning the hard way is still learning. Sorry if that upsets. Mainly because like you do need some programmatic UI experience to like use them well.
Do most companies use XID files when they use storyboard now?
Yeah, I think if you're using Interface Builder, like you'll generally see most views separated out into their own thing. Cool. All right, let's make a cell. Liana, how do I get a label in Interface Builder? I just want a label. Label? We're going to come back and do this programmatically a little later, but we're going to be lazy right now. I'm going to say label. It'll have some length. It's going to have a leading. It's going to have a top space. It's going to have a bottom space. And here's a really fun thing I'm going to do. So I'm going to set the trailing space. Maybe we never talked about this, which is cool. But what I'm going to do for that trailing space is we're used to setting everything equal to some value or like relative to the center. I can change that equals. And I can say this is going to be less than or equal to 170. And that is so that if my label exceeds this space that's been allotted to it, in that 70 points from the right side of this cell, it can expand. So my constraint isn't absolute, and I can make more space for it. Rather than if I have this label inside of this cell, and I have a, I don't know, let's just say golden retriever doesn't fit. If this was equal to, it wouldn't make the space for it. But because this constraint is willing to get smaller, it's saying this constraint is going to be 170 or less than 170. It can expand the label and fit golden retriever. So it can expand that label to the point where the constraint that you actually see in the view is 0. It could go all the way to the margin of the cell. I did that, so if you go to the size inspector, the little ruler guy, you can go to the constraint itself and you can edit the constant value. I did trailing space, just so it would have some room to expand to its right, because that's usually, like, we populate words left to right in the English language. Yeah, so I'm saying this constraint itself is going to be equal to 170 or smaller. So if this label needs more room, the constraint itself could be like 140, which would be making it small, less than or equal to. Okay, got our label. Let's just connect it. Not this crap again. Cool. Let's connect it. We will make it the breed label. Breed label. Neat. We will say, hey, breed label, do thing. Now, I want to do that stuff we're used to doing where I DQ it, right? Here's the thing, because my table view is not in Interface Builder, and it doesn't have this as a prototype cell, I can't just DQ it. I could instantiate it, but what I could also do is I could do something called register it. So I could say, in the table view, I can register. Oh, come on, computer. Yeah, I know it has no reg. Autocomplete. It's doing the thing. Hold on one sec. Albert. Yeah, I know I can't invoke register. All right, I'm just gonna say, I want to look into how this works. This guy? Like to demonstrate it? Register. I'm getting a fun Xcode thing here. Hang on. I'm sorry?
Register UI for cell identifier.
Yes, but I want to show you what register does. So let me kill this real quick. Sorry. Open it back up. Xcode is a great program for doing everything that you need. Okay. Dot table view. Dot. Oh my god. So what we need to register are two things: a class, and then how you're going to find that thing. Yay.
How do you use
How do you? What's that? What? Please help. Register is a class for use in creating new table view cells. This is what your prototype cells have done. No, I don't know. I see smirks. So, what was our cell called? Dog, table view cell. This is where we use that dot self again to indicate we're talking about that type of class. I didn't give my cell a reuse identifier, so I'm going to say this is called a dog table view cell, and make sure in that xib file that I add this identifier. So copy, and then go in there, just like I've done in the past. Loving Xcode. I'm going to change its restoration ID. Whoa, what is that? I don't know. We'll find out. Albert, do you think this is going to work? Where'd he go? Oh, there he is. Hi, Albert. And we'll find out. All I'm doing right now is saying, hey, table view, you should be able to recognize something with this identifier that is of this type. Because otherwise, you've never run into this before. We could create, if we did this all programmatically, which we will, we might just in the future create a new table view cell, dog table view cell. But the reason we're doing this is because we have defined an interface builder what that thing is going to look like and what its connections to its Swift file are. So we need to register the zib with our table view so that later it can use it. Tia. Okay. It's gone. Yeah, we're not using it. So we created a zip file for our subclass of UI table view cell. I'm going to ask you. So this is not programmatic. This is still using interface builder. And I'm going to keep moving forward, all right? Sorry. Sunny.
How did you put clean in the restoration without reusing?
Because I want to break it. All right, fine, let's go back. This restoration ID, what is this thing? Who knows? Where are we used to putting it? The reuse identifier. Where is that, Sunny? I need to be clicking on the cell. Dang. But I wanted to break it. So let's go back to what Sunny said, just in case. I was clicked on the view here, so I didn't see any reuse identifier. Just like you might have seen a million times in the past. The mistake you should not make is trying to identify the content view or the label or something else in the view. Make sure you are clicked on the cell itself, and that's how you can make sure you are adding the identifier dog table view cell. Come on, Sonny, let me have it. Okay. So the reuse identifier is that reuse identifier we just set up. You need to be clicked on the actual table view cell. Like click on this outermost part here. Cool. All right, so we've registered that. Have we normally done anything else to a table view when we're setting it up? Is this gonna, let's say I go and I'm like, all right, do all the stuff that gets the info in there. Is it gonna be able to do that? Why not? Needs the number of rows, probably needs to like DQ the cells. And so what does this view controller need to do? Downcasted as a table view cell. Where do those functions come from? The ones that tell us the rows and what goes in them. Delegate and data source. Cool. So I'm going to need to say the table view. I'm sorry? No, this guy's just a view controller. I just named it that, yeah. Data source is going to be self. I can't refer to self in here unless I make this a lazy var. And now I need my thing to conform to data source. So I'm going to extend. We've done this before, right? We made table views at least 500,000 times. Let's conform to UI table view, data source. I'm not worrying about the delegate right now because we're not doing that stuff. So give me the functions I need, please. Thank you. Do that. The number of rows is going to be dogs dot count. And then the cells here, now that we have registered this cell from whatever XIV file it came from, we can DQ it just like we used to. So we can say let dog table view cell, or just cell if we're lazy, equal self.tableview, which is the thing we're creating programmatically, .dq, reusable cell with string. That thing was called dog table view cell. Yes. Sorry, scroll or slow? Slow down, yes. Let's just go back up to make sure. We made sure the zip file is available. And now we're just doing that stuff that's familiar. We're counting how many rows we should have. My model is that dogs at the top. Then we're trying to get the cell that we should use. Because this dog table view cell was registered, because that zib is registered, I can now DQ it. So because the table view knows that there is some kind of interface builder that it can file that it can look at to get this cell. I can dequeue it just like I'm used to. It used to look at the storyboard. Now it looks at that one file called dogtableviewcell. That's it. So I'm going to just do this stuff like I used to. If you remember, dequeue reusable cell dequeues a what? What type does this return, Jack? This dequeue reusable cell function does not return void. What does it return? Let's have a look. Returns a reusable table view cell object for the specified reuse identifier and adds it to the table. Its return type is UI table view cell. So if I want it to be a dog table view cell, what do I have to do? Yeah, let's downcast it. Dog table view cell. I'm going to make this a guard statement. Guard, let that do that. Else, just going to be lazy and return a UI table view cell. Cool. Now I'm just going to say cell dot L. Read label dot text equal to, I should figure out what dog I've got, right? Look at my model and say let dog equal dogs at index path dot row. Now, how do I get the key from a dictionary value? Oh no, what's happening? Oh no, I can't do that. How do I get the first thing in a dictionary? Turn the page. Bracket 0. Ah, I can look through the keys. Let's see what that is. That's a keys. It's a collection containing just the keys. I wonder what kind of collection that is. Say dog. If I look at the type of this. Keys. I don't know. We can probably just treat it like some kind of set, maybe. Maybe an array. But I don't want to get 0th. I want to get the one at that specific row. How do you feel about that, Eric? Okay, cool. So again, because this is a dictionary, we're looking at the keys, we're making sure we pick out the right key value pair. Uh-oh. Oh no, I can't subscript it. Cannot subscript a value of type dictionary, string in UI color, dot keys, with an argument of type int. Eric, what happened? I thought we had this. That's okay. What do you think we should do? What? Levi's smiling at you. Levi, what do you want to do? A closure? Tell me more. No, you. You bring up the idea, like, can't just abandon it after that. Okay, Bane. Let's say I want to, I don't know, what do you want to do? Make it gray? Make an array. Okay, how would you make it an array? Okay, let's do this the long way and then maybe refactor. Make an array of the keys, and then I will pick out from that array the one at the index path dot row, and then from that key I will go and I will say dogs at that. Thanks, Levi. Now, should have a dog. interesting. Dog dot key. No. What is dog? Dog. Oh man, we just got the value. Do you guys remember dictionary? We should really work on this. So, I just got the subscript of a dictionary, which means I looked at dogs, I went and I found the appropriate key, but I only got that color. So to figure out what the text of that thing is going to be, I need to also get that key. And so I need to say something like, the color is this. Don't you guys love fundamentals review? And dog breed is that actual string. So the key and the value. Pretty tight. So now dog breed is a string. I think it's cool. Cell, that background color equal to dog color. Neat. What should we do now? Yeah. You guys done this before? I feel like I got a lot of no's. All right. Let's see if this works. Are you guys ready? Oh, golly gee. It's running, it's running. It's running, it's running. Oh man, what'd you notice? Do I need to return nil? Oh, I should do that. Thank you. I think there's something else going on. Talk about it in just a sec. You might have seen it yesterday and today. Oh no, I agree. Allison, what do you think is going on? I don't see it yet. I made this beautiful table view, but I never said what view it should be inside of. So I'm going to say add as a subview. Come on. You know I'm lazy. Subview. Table view. Cool. Let's see what happens now. Oh man. How would I debug this? I guess put a breakpoint, put a breakpoint. I love breakpoints.
How are you supposed to set the data source itself and error?
Oh man. So those never got hit. How was I able to set the data source to self? You're getting an error. Tell me about your var. Guys, it's never calling those data source functions though. Why? Oh, that's right. Damn. Ah, interesting. So that UI table view that I had here had no data source. Nice. Guys, you're getting so good at debugging. I love it. So you know all of this stuff except this XIB thing is new. Ooh. Ooh. Let's make sure we're getting the right information. Let's print out dogs.count. 4. Awesome. That's how many we had, right? And let's just print dogs for the key, Yorkie. What type should I expect based on what I've got here? What should be the type of the value that I am accessing by using this key? A UI color. Awesome. There's a UI color. It's gray. All right, I'm going to remove the breakpoints. I'm going to continue my app. You don't have to relaunch every time you get great breakpoints. I'm going to get rid of this blue background color. Let's make sure this is all working though. Maybe I'll put one there. Maybe I'll put one there. I'll just make sure I got these values back, the dog breed and the dog color. Ooh. Ooh. Oh. I did, don't worry. But if I hadn't, where should I look? Look in the scene delegate, make sure all this stuff is set up. I did it for you. I'd love if the app could do something. Come on, my friend. Put a breakpoint in the did finish launching with options. All right, we finished launching. Let's continue. Okay, please have my view controller. Now, damn. What's going on, guys? Do we have constraints? Ah, interesting. The table view doesn't know how big or where it should be. Sorry. All right, so maybe let's create a function called set constraints. And what that's going to do is it's going to say maybe self.tableview dot, is there something called width? Ah, there's a layout dimension. Width anchor is equal to self.view dot, I guess we could use bounds because we know about that now. Dot size, dot width. Oh my god, look at all this stuff. Size dot. What information can I find out about size? Tell me something. I don't know. Well, that's not working. Can we go look at the definition? No. This Xcode is a pain in the butt. Whoa. Nice. Let's say self.tableview dot. I really can't function without these autocompletes. Dot set constraint. Constraint. Nice. Equal to something. What should it be? Self.view.leading. I hope that works. How do I make this work? Gotta make it active. And Sunny had an even better method. Let's just do this real quick. Okay, that for trailing anchor. That for oh my god, can it be? It is this now. Top anchor. What am I doing? For anyone familiar with constraints, you have to describe. Yeah, and what, like, where should I expect it to be? In the center, but everywhere. Yes, it's going to take up the entire width of the screen. I'm going to make sure I call set constraints inside of my view.did_load. I sure hope this works. I've never coded before, but I'm really excited to see how this works. Make what false? Oh, that mask thing. Oh, man. Golly gee. There are so many things to remember, right? Oh, my God. self.tableview dot set auto something. Just auto resizing mask. Translates into constraints. Set that to false. Did anyone figure out what this means? Please tell me. It has something to do with something called like an auto resizing mask. You know? That's what I was thinking it'll be. Iram or Olympia, have you ever used this thing, this auto resizing mask thing, like, and made it true? Yeah. I don't know. Have you made it false every time you've created constraints?
Yeah.
All right. Would you recommend doing that?
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
And also you can put all the constraints in an array and then build map that, you make them all be active and
Oh. What? You can do this activate thing, or you can put them all in an array. You can use this array function that we used. Oh my god. You could separate them with commas. I know, it's tight. You could say, guys, we're using so many programming skills with our programmatic UI. Oh man. And I can say, go through this thing, which is an array, and then map. Whoa. Do this thing where it's like constraint, and then returning who cares, and then I could say like constraint dot, whoa, constraint dot is active is equal to true. Why isn't that going to work? Like this? Damn, what's that T? Who's T? Ugh. And it's layout constraint. All right, let's not worry about it for now. But if I'm doing the same thing to all these, I could probably use a mat function to do it. Let's run this and make it work, because it's looking like we'll have to come back after lunch. I'm sorry, I love you.
I'm sorry, not
Oh my god.
sorry.
Uh-oh. Got a fatal error. Unwrapping an optional value. Oh no. Let's put a breakpoint because it crashed on the dog breed. Let's make sure we're looking at the right thing. Damn. So close. All right, we got a breakpoint. Let's print out dog breed. Pug mix. Yeah, that's a real thing. What about, we'll put a breakpoint here. And I say cell.read label .text. Oh no. Oh, tight. Oh no. Unexpectedly found nil while implicitly unwrapping an optional value. It couldn't find this. This thing is nil. Why is that label nil? Anyone got any solutions? Nil coalescing? But that label's supposed to be there. I think so. What do you mean? So the thing that came up nil was actually this label on this cell. It's kind of wild. So it means there's something wrong with my cell. And what I wanted to show you with this register is what it's trying to do is it's trying to register some class. It's trying to register this dog table view cell.self. But the thing is, we need need to make sure that we are registering it from Interface Builder, because that outlet doesn't exist if we were just using the class. This sounds weird, but we saw it yesterday. If you were just using the class and your program is not writing all the code, then anything from Interface Builder doesn't exist in that class. So instead, what we need to register is something slightly different, which is why there are all these things. And I fucking hate sorry computer with all the information. I need to register a nib object containing a cell with the table view under a specified identifier. This is a little different. If I wanted to register a purely programmatic UI table view cell in this table view, I could use the one that we created. But because in the definition of that class, we are connecting to Interface Builder, I need to register the nib. The nice thing is that the nib and the class itself have the same name, right? The nib itself is a subclass of UI table view cell. It's where we set it, just like you've done in your view controller all the time. You set the custom subclass. Let's take a look-see here. If I click on the cell, its class is dog table view cell. So if I register this nib, which used to be the name for XIB, I don't know. So I want to look up nib. It's like not extreme interface builder, if I remember. It will know that for its class, it should go look at the code defined in dog table view cell. So again, if you're using Interface Builder, it's not going to intuit all the information about the class that is gotten from your Interface Builder file. So instead, you have to register that particular nib, and then you can use it. Next step, Interface Builder. Does anyone remember what next step is? Does anyone care what next step is? It's the Apple guy, that's right. All right, so let's get that nib. Let's create a UI nib. I really need you to tell me all the things. Thank you. Nib name. I don't know, what's the nib name called? Blah, blah. It's the name of the thing. Bundle. What do we usually do with bundle? Yeah, because who cares? All right. We're going to say the nib is nib, and then we're going to make sure that we are using that same reuse identifier. Cool. Look at all the steps to using an XIB file. Aren't we glad we went through them here? I am. Oh. All right. Go away. Go away. Yes. Guys, you did it. All right, so ultimately, here's the difference between what we used to do in Storyboard and what we've done with this XIB file. We had to create the table view. We could have also created an XIB file that had this table view in it. So we did kind of a mix of things here, right? We could have done all that. We could have set that prototype cell in that XIB file, or we could have registered it here. So your prototype cells that you have in Interface Builder are set up to already be registered with your table view. If you do not have a table view set up in Interface Builder, you do need to register that. But if you are creating that cell in Interface Builder using an XIB or an NIB file, you will need to go ahead and reference that Interface Builder file. Okay? That is the most important thing. You will need to go reference that Interface Builder file and then register that nib, and then later you can do all the stuff you're used to in your data source function. So again, we created a table view ourselves. We created something with an Interface Builder file. We went and we got whatever that interface builder stuff is by looking for something called dog table view cell. Who cares about the bundle? We don't even know what that is. And then we registered it. Again, your prototype cells are already registered, but if they are not prototype cells for a table view that you created, you have to register them yourself. That's it. Then we return the table view, blah, blah, blah. Where's some questions? Sunny. Yes. Let's look up what a nib is. A nib is really just the old name for a zib. Like, honestly. Throw that link into Slack, please. What is a nib? Well, it is the pointed end of a pen. I should probably be more specific. iOS. It's a special type of resource file that you use to store the user interfaces of iOS and Mac apps. It's an interface builder document. A zib is a modern version of a nib. XML is the markdown language. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So just like we looked at with Storyboard, all that information, like behind the magic of laying it out in Interface Builder, is saved as XML. And thank you for the hacking with Swift file, because most of this stuff about Cocoa, which is the framework for UI, is like very old and not great in terms of the actual Apple documentation. But for now, just treat nibs and zibs as interchangeable, but we're using zibs because that's just the new stuff. You'll see them referred to interchangeably. All right, so let's take lunch. Let's come back at 1:45. Thanks, y'all.